What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? So we are back. We are back finally for the reunion part one of what is this? Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. This is technically episode 18, but it's reunion part one. I hope we're not finna be sitting here. Honestly, can I be real frank? Why do we need three parts? And I know we come on here when it's the reunion for a lot of these shows and he comes out to be three parts and we be like, oh my God, girl, why do we need three parts? But no, oh my God, girl, why do we need three parts? Nothing really happened this season if you want to be quite frank about it. And be real about it. It was a cute season. It was entertaining, but not that much for no three-parter. Okay. A lot of the stuff that was mentioned on this first part really was kind of insignificant, if you ask me, because, girl, I could barely remember it. That's why I'm sitting in front of the TV so I can remember. Because, girl, what? All we got into, and I know Andy gagged but after they finished recording the reunion and found out, oh, the reason why that Brittany wasn't there was because she's suing. Because everybody, you got Porsha. Now let me tell you something. I will say this part was funny when Porsha went up in there and she was laying down or whatever, and Cynthia came into her dressing room. Phaedra came up in her dressing room because Phaedra was looking for Brittany, right? Brittany hasn't shown up because at this point in time, no one knows that Brittany is not coming. But she did have contact with, a couple of the girls, and she never let on that she wasn't going to be there. Even said that at one point the husbands was going to be there, including hers, but that she's not going to be there, okay? But when Porsha said, I took my magnesium and all that stuff, and then Phaedra said, wait a minute, you took magnesium? You finna had a bubble gust and you just finna be... And she said, wait a minute, is that why I was up here doing... Yes! Magnesium is down there a laxative, especially whichever one you take. And I was just sitting there, oh, her stomach gonna be bubbling on that goddamn stage. Trust and believe, I know, okay? I said that was funny. That was funny to wake it up in the beginning, right? We get into the actual reunion. I'ma really just say this. For the most part, the women look nice. I don't have much negative to say. Cynthia played it safe. Drew was decent. Kelly, her dress looked nice when she sat down. I actually like Shamia's dress too, for the most part. The only one that I truly didn't like is Phaedra, and I'm just going to be honest with you. She said she was trying to, emulate the jab thing, situation that happened out there in Grenada, the guy that was out there. Girl, no, okay? Jab your ass back up into the goddamn dressing room and go do that again, okay? Jab the goddamn, stylist, whoever told you that was cute, okay? Porsha, you ain't no real friend, because I would have said absolutely not. Turn around and go try it again, okay? Turn around and try it again. But, yeah, she looked a mess. And I can say this as the person that looking a mess right now. She look a mess, okay? But hey, it is what it is. So everybody is back. Porsha, she done got Coco and Chanel, lifted, which I feel nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Because honestly, I want to take mines and reduce them hoes and take them off, okay? If you want, give them to somebody who want them. So that was cool. Angela and that fan. I'll never forget looking at her on the BET Awards in the audience, and she still had that fan. Listen, and at the way the weather has been out here and out there, if it's been hot out here in Chicago, which technically it hasn't been as hot these past few days, but what it has been, baby, I just know that it is times 10 down there in the South. So I get it, Angie. I get it, and you're probably going through perimenopause too or whatever. So hey, it is what it is. For the most part, they realized that Brittany is not fair. She's not coming to join. I think Porsha said she had talked to her the day before. She never mentioned that she wasn't going to show up. Somebody else said that they was going to talk to her. And Kelly basically said that her and her relationship is just over and done with because, Yeah, she came through and she caused mass destruction. That's what she was saying. Drew said she did get a text from her saying that she was suing her. And I said, suing her for what? For what? And what we later gonna find out, I guess, in the next part is that because this is when we started talking about the whole Kenya and Brit situation, that allegedly Kenya got the information from Drew. So Brit probably 9 and 10 is trying to quote unquote sue Drew for giving her that information. Truth be told, that's some stuff that you probably could have looked up. That's some stuff that you probably could have looked up. But hey, she want to sue everybody. She ain't gonna get nothing. But it is what it is. That's her right. But like Drew said, she ain't filed nothing yet. And from what I seen somebody else talked about it, she hasn't filed nothing against Bravo yet either. It was just putting it out there that she's going to, but she hasn't as of yet. Now y'all can correct me if I'm wrong and put down in the comments, do she have it on file yet? That's why I tell the people, go ahead and sue. Okay? If you got it, if you're big and bad and this is what you want and you need some wrongs done against you and you need it right and you can't get that, girl, go ahead and sue. Okay? Don't talk about it, be about it. Okay? File that paperwork, Brit. You got the people up in the tizzy and everything. File the paperwork. The same thing with Drew. File the paperwork against her if that's what you really want to do. Meanwhile, what else is going on? Anyway, let's just get into it. They talked about Phaedra and her clothes and all of that. This whole situation with Porsha being back in her home, they was happy about that. They talked about how, that whole thing came about. Simon not being able to, the home that they got, it's a home that he got prior to the marriage, right? And so once they became together, they did the prenup and all of that stuff, and basically it became a marital asset. And so now she's entitled to that asset, and at the current moment, technically speaking, he can't do nothing about it because he over there in Nigeria. Okay, he's not even in the state. He's not a legal citizen of, the United States of America now and all that stuff. And so it was a lot of stuff that they wanted to get into when it came to Simon. And yeah, she said she just don't want to talk about it because she don't want to talk about him because of legal reasons and all that stuff. And I want to get into this part because they was talking about the fact that Drew came on a podcast or some type of interview, and she basically said that Porsha's return was a flop. Porsha, and you know what? When them two was going back and forth, and when Drew hit her with that, well, Simon says, that shit, I said, well, hold on, Drew. She kind of got her, but that little exchange back and forth between them two, it was cute. I was like, okay, y'all really getting at each other. But here's my thing. What Drew said, and like I said on Twitter, Drew can lie a little bit, okay? She can lie a little bit. But baby, what she didn't do was tell a lie in that part. She told the truth. Porsha's return was a flop. And Porsha's return was a flop mainly because, and we have to be honest, it wasn't necessarily because she just didn't have a storyline. She didn't have a storyline because her soon-to-be ex-husband, which probably is her ex-husband now, girl, is that... I know that ain't gray hair. No, it ain't. Okay, girl, I just gotta, I got some stuff on it. It's the build-up. Oh, okay, girl. Bitch, I was about to snap. I said, girl, I know. It's the light. It's the... Okay. It's just telling me go ahead and take this shit down and go and get your shit done. That's just really what it is. Girl, I was about to freak out and say, I know the fuck I did not. Just, did I just age that quick? What am I stressed out about that I'm getting gray hairs like that? No, it's just because I got a different light over here. Girl, oh, Jesus Christ. But no, Drew didn't lie. Porsha's return was a flop. Porsha's return was a flop because of the simple fact that Simon put a stop to a lot of shit. And that's basically what it was. So therefore, she had to pivot to this storyline with Drew and Dennis and all this stuff And yeah, put your grievances and your issues out there with Drew. Let that go on for a couple of episodes, but you let that shit drag throughout the whole season for the most part. And it just was boring. It made no sense for the most part to keep dragging it out the way that they drug it out. And it wasn't even Drew that was dragging it out. It was Porsha, because Porsha ain't had no storyline. Let's just be that's honesty. That's literally what it was. Honestly, she didn't have a storyline because Simon took the shit away. And it was probably last minute, so she ain't had no real way to pivot. And so she did the whole thing with Drew. And when that thing happened with Drew, you got this whole situation of, well, Shamia said this and you said that, and did you really try to sleep with Drew, Dennis for the for the studio time and all this stuff, and what did the text message say? If Porsha was really friends with Drew, and you know how your girl is, why would you think that your girl or your friend or somebody that's going to be around you and be filmed and all that stuff, why would you think that, especially if you never done anything to them? And I know it's some shiesty ass, shady ass, crazy ass bitches out here that'll do some shit just to do some shit, but Drew just don't give off that. Drew don't give off, I ain't gonna say too smart to do some shit like that, but she just don't give off backstabbing like that. To just really get on TV and to be up here trying to fuck around with your baby daddy on that level and to hurt you on purpose, like, no. You also got to be upset with Dennis because Dennis was probably telling her one thing, as like she kept on saying. I thought she was cool with it. She gave her blessings because that's what Dennis said. But again, as I will continue to say, Drew, that was your friend. You should have also talked to your friend. You should have made sure you got in contact no matter how long it took. Whether it was a text message, and honestly, you should have got on the phone with her, okay? Freak a text message. You should have got a phone with it and verbally had that confirmation whether she was going to be cool with it or not, so y'all can avoid all this. But at the same time, the way Porsha tried to make it seem like Drew, and even the other girls trying to make it seem like Drew was really out here trying to take Dennis from her, or, do some things with Dennis, sleep for a track, and do all this other stuff on some sexual type of level or whatever. And that wasn't even the case. She was working with the man for business. The way they build up that storyline to make it seem like that, it really pissed me off, because I'm like, damn well that's not what was going on. And, they even asked Porsha after seeing the season, do you think that you owe her an apology? Because that's not what it was. And, she did get up and she go over there. We trying to find our light or whatever. So I do apologize, because you did this and you wasn't trying to do it. Girl, she was trying to tell you that in the first place. You just wasn't trying to hear it. But you will listen to when Dennis say something, but you wouldn't listen when Drew say something. That's your friend. And I'm realizing, and probably already saw, but Porsha is male-centered. And a part of that came out that really, to me, was when they was talking to Kelly about her husband, or her ex-husband now, and they was getting on the part about how Kelly walks around with a security guard. Why does she walk around with a security guard? And Porsha was like, it's 2 reasons. And so one of those reasons, which you never got the second, was because, of the husband and, how crazy he is or whatever. But she goes, but I heard that, it's really the other way around, that he don't really be doing nothing, and Kelly just doing this for show to try to get attention and to do stuff on the TV show and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? And then, to be using what Ralph said, and I'm like, so you using what other people saying about this man, knowing how niggas can be and how they can do you dirty. You was in a goddamn relationship with Cordell, okay? You was in a relationship with Simon. We saw how he did you dirty. Okay, and that's partly on yourself too, because you didn't do your due diligence like you said you did, but you really didn't. And you're gonna take this man's side by putting out there, well, it could have been that she did it for show or whatever. Why would you even say that? And especially given all of the stuff that she said, having to put this man in prison, and it wasn't even her that had to put him in prison. He put himself in jail because either he got held in contempt, he didn't pay the child support, or she did have to call the cops on him because at one point there was alleged abuse going on in the household. So for you to sit there and to say some shit like that, I was just like disgusted with her for saying that. I said, really, Porsha? Really? Oh, okay. Meanwhile, your nigga don't even want you no more, okay? He talking crap about you online and all this stuff. And, you know, you want to compare. And Kelly, I'm going to give you this. Let me get on you for a second. When Porsha brought up the whole thing about y'all relationships and the fact that y'all going through the same thing, you're going through divorces or whatever, she wasn't saying that your divorce and hers were the same. She was saying that y'all going through the same thing, meaning that y'all both going through a divorce, okay? We know that but Kelly gonna get her anytime. She said, oh yeah, you know, my 11 year being married to your 11 months. No, I mean, you had to get your little jab in. I was okay with it. But at the same time, let's clear it up. She wasn't trying to compare your divorce to her. She was just saying that she's going through the same thing. You know, it's money situation that was going on in your divorce. The same thing going on with hers. It's being put in the blocks. Both of those things are together. Those are the same. Regardless of how long y'all been together, how long she been with Simon and all that shit, y'all both going through divorces that's being played out publicly. That's basically what she was trying to say, okay? And also, what else? That whole Simon situation, girl, did Shamia introduce them and all this stuff? Angela saying that, oh, you said Shamia, you said you introduced Simon to her and all this stuff, and in Nashville. At this point in time, I just don't know who be telling the truth. And then you got the nerve to say, run the tape. And they ran the tape, and it showed that Shamia did not say she introduced Porsha to Simon or Simon to Porsha. She said, I was there when they both met each other. That's all that she said. That doesn't mean that I introduced or whatever. No, and that's just really what it was, okay? Words do mean things, and if you're going to come at somebody throat about something, please just have it correct. That's basically what they all trying to say, you know, when it comes to Shamia. But we call Drew liars, but damn near the whole cast be lying. And it be on film, and they could just they roll the tape back, you know? Then Kelly and this whole situation with Porsha and Simon, like, she was like, when Kelly asked Porsha about why she stole that woman's husband. Oh, I'm so sorry. Why she stole that woman's husband? Was she saying that to be messy or out of concern? Now, Kelly, this is the reunion, baby girl. This is the reunion. This is what we come clean. This is what we put our big girl panties on. We be a grown woman, and we say exactly what we mean, how we mean, and we own up to our shit. Ain't no way in hell you want us to believe, or Porsha, for that matter, that you asked her that question the way that you asked her that question when you don't know that lady out of concern. You ain't asked her that goddamn question out of no damn concern. Okay, baby, you was being messy as hell. You asked the question that a lot of people, including myself, wanted to know. But at the same time, I felt like you did it in a way like you was a little bit you was too much. I don't want to call you aggressive because I hate calling black women aggressive because, you know, that's what they been. Have y'all seen Love Island? I'm not going to spoil it for y'all. The conclusion, I'm just going to say, thank goodness a minority couple won. Ow! Take that as you will. Now you go back and you go watch it. I fast forward to the end. I wasn't finna watch that whole 2 hours. 2 hours for what? Now I apologize if I spoiled it, but you gotta go watch and see which one it is. Okay, 9 out of 10, you gonna fast forward to the end too. But I just thank God the other person didn't win, because I would have been really, really pissed off. I'm looking forward to the reunion. I actually sit there and watch the reunion. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, Miss Girl, you was being messy as hell. You was not concerned for that lady. Okay, you just wanted to be messy. The whole Brit situation when it came to Kelly, you know, were you being a good friend or an enabler when she was calling out Angela and Charles and saying that he had a baby on the side and all this stuff? Oh no, I was being a friend and everything, because whether my friend is right or wrong, I'm gonna stand up for her and all this stuff. But looking back and seeing how things has played out, I wish I never partook in those things. Understandable, I get it. You also could have just shut the hell up, because you ain't had to interject nothing when it was between Angela and Britt was handling it herself, okay? You ain't need to be her backup in that moment, you know? It did make you look like an enabler, and it did make you look messy as hell just like her. Meanwhile, we get on to the whole Britt and Kelly situation as to why them two aren't friends anymore, or what really started this whole situation between them two. And it was with the stylist thing, and it was like, she was going through what she was going through, especially with the Kenya situation, and she wanted to just make her feel well. She got the IV. She said she spent $1,000 on the IV because it was 3 people that was getting the IV: Kelly, Brittany, and Mike. I said, oh, you got it for the husband too? Wouldn't be me, but all right. And so yeah, she spent the band on the IV. She let her borrow her stylist and all that stuff for that time, and the makeup, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, I let you borrow it for that one time, but now you want to do it all the time or whatever. So what are you trying to do? Be obsessed with me? And at the same time, when Kelly is trying to give this explanation and break down as to why, she felt some type of way, it didn't make sense to me. Because if that's my friend, and then the part that truly didn't make sense is the fact that she said that not Kelly, but Britt was paying. She was paying when she used that services. So why do you care that your friend, your bestie, was going and using your stylist or whatever? It's a service that's available. You didn't want the stylist to get paid too? Because I'm pretty sure they're not just using you. You're not their only client either. So, I just didn't see why that would be the catalyst to break up a friendship if it was a real friendship. Truth be told. Okay? And then the whole thing about her getting an abortion, she was saying that she never told Britt that. She never had an abortion. And 9 out of 10, the person that probably told her something like that was the stylist. Which goes to show that the stylist didn't give a fuck about you, Kelly. To be quite honest. If she gonna sit there, she or he, whoever it was, sat there and told some of your alleged business to her that you never said, yeah, them people didn't give a fuck about you. They had an issue with you. Okay? And I heard that Kelly wasn't paying on time and that Britt actually was paying on time. So maybe that's really what it was. Okay? And so that's why they told her about the whole abortion situation. But Kelly said she never had an abortion. She had her tubes tied after her last twins, because they were born with, broken, what is called, broken bone syndrome, that, and she didn't want to go through that and put another child and all that stuff. Understandable. So she had her tubes tied. So she said, I couldn't get pregnant if I wanted to, and now I have to talk to my daughters about abortion when they don't even know nothing about that, and it hasn't come up yet, but yeah, they're gonna have to talk about it. I'm sitting here like, when it comes to the Britt and Kelly situation, it still doesn't make sense to me. Like, because the way that I said, it has to be something else. You can't sit here and just tell me that it's literally about a stylist and using my makeup and throwing the word jealousy around because I think you're probably obsessed with me because you want to look like me, just like me, act like me. Like, I just don't like... Britt gives a lot, but I just don't think, like, it's some underlying thing. Did you feel like the people was at the beginning liking Britt more than you? And I don't know, like, to go, it just, I don't know. If you guys figured it out that it's something else, put it in the comments, let me know. So yeah, you got that going on. Also, we did get Cynthia come out there, and they called her the best friend of the Housewives they had. And she said she was very comfortable and she enjoyed her spot as being a friend of, because it gave her the purpose to really, in the ease to navigate throughout everybody. And she was in everybody group, talking to everybody without nobody really coming down on her. The only person that truly got upset with her was Kenya. And Kenya to this day is still upset, but Kenya needs to get over it, because at the end of the day, Kenya was wrong. And what Cynthia said was right. I don't give a good goddamn if this is because, she was hanging out with Britt and all this stuff. At the end of the day, I still feel like she feels some type of way because she told her, you better than this. You better than this. Because you were. Okay? You were better than that. But hey, we'll get on to that next week. They wanted to talk about her inverted hood of her clit and her pupus, and her pussy lips. And I'm just like, girl, honestly, I want to see it. No, not like that. I really want to see, because I'm trying to picture it, but I don't want to look it up on my phone because I feel like I don't want to be one of those, okay? Like, is it like for my girlies that probably got an inverted hood? What does inverted mean? Is that pushed in or pushed out? It's a hood, right? Inverted. Opens forward towards the front. Is it like inverted hood on a? Nah, well, I'm finna look it up because now I'm intrigued. Inverted hood on the clitoris. A rare but serious complication of child. What? What? Clitoris hood reduction, a cosmetic surgery. This is giving me something else. Okay, hold on. Okay, so it's over. So basically, is it like, when a dude is not circumcised and they got a little cover over theirs and they got a it pick boost? Is it one of those type of situations? Because if that's the case, then I understand and I still don't want to see it. Okay, let me tell you something. I don't know what it is, but big clicks. Why are we finna talk about that? It used to freak me out when I see it. Like, oh my god, because it looked like a micro penny sometimes. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me see what it do. But bitch, when I said what? Oh, okay, because we all dance, so that just makes me feel like we all got the same parts. Just one's just inner and one is out. Anyway, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. But shit, bitch, it was interesting. I was like, okay, I could get with it. But anyway, bitch, that was a little fun thing, Did y'all hear that when Porsha, I think, was trying to get him to, smell her titties or whatever, because it was an ode to what she said in the previous season, because when she talked about getting her boobs done, got them lifted or whatever, and she was like, to smell them or something like that, and Andy was like, that sounds like an HR complaint. I said, well, Brittany. Oh my god, that was so. I said foreshadowing, and as soon as they finished recording, that complaint came through. Okay, yeah, I did like the fact though when it came to Drew and Porsha trying to get their stuff back together, and it was like basically Porsha did give Drew her props and say, that the music was good. And that because Andy said, well, damn, one of the questions was like, how come you couldn't work with anybody else that was in Atlanta? She worked with Dennis because Dennis was affordable, okay, compared to the real producers that we know of. And I'm saying that he not a real producer because, to be quite honest, like I will continue to say what you want about Drew, but that album really was good. I wasn't expecting it, but it really was good, and I still play it till this day. And Porsha even gave her props and said that it was good. One thing she's not gonna do is not gonna downplay her talent like that, and that it was good or whatever. She said, not like you did on the Breakfast Club with my go naked hair, saying that it wasn't good or whatever. And I was like, well, yeah, that's just what it was and all that stuff. And it was something else that she came up with. And Andy asked Porsha, why did she say that? Was you saying that to be petty? And she said, yes. You know what? Honesty is the best policy when you're trying to make up and be real, okay? Yes, I was being petty as shit. Yes, I said you suck. Yes, I said this. Yes, I said that. Okay, so we got to put that out on the table, and that's how we cleared up, okay? So, hey, we got that out, and then, it gets to, I think I got to everything. We get to this whole situation with Angela. This is what I want to get to. I was like, we also found out about Cynthia and her man. He's 39 years old. His name is LaPrince. He's a singer. He's a something else or whatever. Okay, cool. We talk about Porsha. She's still playing around with that little boy. He's 32 years old. I don't see it lasting. I don't even think it's real. I think it's just a sex thing. And if that's the case, that's fine. Everybody needs to get their rocks off any way that they can. But hey, it is what it is. 2 consenting adults. Porsha kind of, not Porsha, but Phaedra kind of just irked me with the side comments and the lips and it just, the outfit, it wasn't a gown, it was an outfit, like an old school outfit. You know how they said that? It just didn't, it looked very Party City-ish. They had a theme clearly, right? The colors, okay, I was cool with it, but either you come in looking like a prom dress, like Kelly, or you come there looking very cheap like you got your shit from Party City. Didn't Party City just close? I think they closing down for bankruptcy or some shit like that. But that's what she looked like. She, every time I saw her, just like, girl, you don't talk about nobody and you just don't look. Oh, you look a mess. And I was like, I cannot believe that they let Porsha, Phaedra come out there looking like that. For your time back, this is what you do? But okay, cool. Moving on from that. I can't wait till we get into the whole thing with Shamia and Porsha, because Shamia and Porsha were going at each other on this couch. The energy, if somebody was talking and if Shamia got brought up and Shamia was trying to speak and then it had something to do with Porsha or whatever, either or, their energy is just, I said that's sad. That is really sad that they let this show, either they let this show or they let social media or the girls on the show get to them. But 9 out of 10, all of this stuff was already brewing under the surface and it just came through. That's just really what it looks like. The show brought it all out. It's not problems that just came up. These are issues and thoughts and stuff that has already been there. They probably been tucked away, trying to cover it up, trying to act like it's not there. And then it just came out. Okay? And that's just what it was. Then it comes down to this whole situation at the end with Angela and Phaedra. Girl, Angela, I want to be on your side so bad. I want to be on your side so bad. Because 1, Chicago. 2, you give maturity. 3, I don't really like Phaedra like that. And everybody already know that. But see, I can be fair. I don't believe at this point, after everything that came out, I don't believe Phaedra did that now. I don't believe it. I know Phaedra, she could have. She's very capable. We've seen what she's done, okay? But she would be very stupid if you look at it and think about it. And maybe I'm giving her too much to fuck up again and do something so stupid like trying to set somebody up. Do I feel like Porsha, and if she did, I don't think she would do it this sloppily. Hiring some dude named Marcus to come into the restaurant where y'all at, to an event where y'all is at, to say that Charles is cheating on Angela, which 9 out of 10, I'm not going to say that it's happened, but I'm pretty sure that it's happened before, okay, that he has cheated in the past. I think she even said something like that. So it's not very far-fetched, right? So at the end of the day, here's the thing. I just don't think, I can give Phaedra and talk about her so much or whatever, but at the end of the day, I just don't think she's this stupid to come back and come up with a weak-ass plan like this. And again, I still say, even though Phaedra said, I don't have nothing against you, I don't even know you to even do no stuff like this to you, so why would I single you out? We trying to answer that question too, because it did seem like you didn't like her. It did seem like you had something against her because of the little shady shots that you was throwing at her about her age, about how, I didn't know Charles was married, don't nobody know her, and all this stuff, whatever. You literally came onto the show saying that about this woman, and you never met her. You was going at her in your confessionals and all of that stuff, and you never met her. So, of course, some of the viewers like me would think like, well, why the fuck you keep doing this? And so it's not too far-fetched for us to be like, well, damn, maybe you do have a part in this. But when the stuff comes out and the more further we get into it, it just seems so stupid. It seems so lazy. It seems so comical, really. The Marcus situation, I just feel like she will be a little bit smarter than that. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a little bit more intricate. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving Phaedra a little bit too much, but it just seems too sloppy to get found out that quick. No. And then for him to say, like I said, when he said that she's the godfather of Atlanta, baby, please. I said that if I was believing it, I stopped believing it right then and there. And then when you bring up the Athens, Georgia connection, okay. And she's sitting there with the folder saying that the person is connected because they was from Athens, and this woman named Kim, and the only person, I think either his mom or his sister named Kim, and your brother went to school with this girl, y'all went to the same school in Athens and all this. Okay, so that's the connection right there, but that's all you got? What they got to do with, it don't make sense to me, Angela. It don't make sense to me. And I know after the episode aired 2 weeks ago, the finale, dude came back out and said that he lied and that that it wasn't Phaedra that did it. At this point, I don't know. Do I feel like Angela did this herself? I'm not going to say that. But if that dude comes out to be the case, that's stupid as hell, because you already had the people on your side. Okay? The people, you was the people's champs, Angela, this season for a lot of people, But I don't think, are you really that desperate to stay? I don't know. I don't really want to think that. I don't want to think that. I don't want to think that any of the women would do something so stupid just to, I don't know. I don't know. Because even when it came to the whole situation with Candy and Phaedra, it may be because she already knew Candy and she just knew the gig was up. Phaedra didn't really fight back on that couch when it came out that, she was lying and all that stuff or whatever. But when she's on the couch now talking to Angela and she's defending herself, now I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't do that. Like, she really was speaking up. So I was like, well, maybe she didn't do it. And honestly, I don't think she did. I'm just be real with you. I don't think she did. And if that's all the proof, I'm going to wait till next week. But Angela, you're going to have some more proof, okay? Because that pulling out, oh, your brother and his sister went to school together and all this stuff. Okay. Nene also was in Athens too and knew her brother. So was Nene a part of it? Like, come on, you see how the connections can go? Like, you got to get something else. You got to get something else. You know what I'm saying? And then to say that she was doing all this to secure her spot, I don't even rock with Phaedra like that, but her coming back in the last couple of episodes, that spot for next season was already secured. They wasn't going to just bring her back for a few episodes and not bring her back for a full season the next season. So, no, girl. No, girl. But you guys tell me how y'all feel. Like, that don't... baby, stuff just don't be making sense. The Kelly and Britt don't make sense. Angela and Phaedra don't make sense. Baby, somebody make it make sense in the comments for me, okay? Fill me in so I can know what I'm missing so we can talk about it next week, okay? You guys tell me how y'all feel. I hope this wasn't all over the place or whatever. I tried to do the best that I can. I'm so goddamn distracted. I cursed the day that y'all put that Love Island shit up in my face. Curiosity killed the cat because I wasn't into this shit. It was just so up and down my goddamn timeline and everything. And I just said, well, fuck it, bitch. Let me see what everybody is talking about. And I looked at the shit and got hooked. Okay? And so, yeah, my man was on this. So I do apologize. And, yeah, you guys have a good week. And I will see you later. Peace.